So let's get
Let him
into
fight.
that Fatal Fury card. What you think about Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barboza?
I mean, they show some click like T.O. He got good skill set. He do some good stuff in there. He real slick in there. And he do some shit. He ran old boy into some punches, and he box good. But he ain't making you want to come back and see him. He was doing that at first, knocking people out, Mason Menards, and he was putting people to sleep. But now he not, man. He ain't doing nothing, man. He more showboating. He more talking too much and everything instead of fighting in the ring. And so that's it. I don't see none that he says. His conversation ain't good. I mean, like I say, so TOA, I hope somebody beat his ass so we can get out of there for real. Shit. I'm sick of T.O. I hope somebody just beat his ass so he can get the fuck out of there so he can stop talking about that Ring magazine shit and stop all that shit, because you don't even perform like a champ. You don't act like a champ. You don't do nothing like no fucking champ. He can box good, though. I'll give him that. So I'm going to sit out here and talk on the phone. I'm good, coach. Yeah, I'm good.
Um,
Yeah.
so tell me, do you obviously he had one of the more dominant performances of the week besides Inoue?
Oh, Tio? Yeah. Oh, boy didn't bring nothing. Shit, your boy
Arnold
didn't bring
Barboza.
nothing. He didn't bring nothing, man. He didn't bring nothing, man.
He
Barbosa
did
didn't bring
more.
nothing.
He had more talk than fight. You think?
Yeah, exactly he did. Exactly he did. But Tio got the job done. You know what I'm saying? And so like they keep talking about Boots Ennis. I want to see him fight Brian Norman. I want to see what he gonna do against Brian Norman. Brian Norman is a guy, new world champion. Um, man, and I think he give anybody trouble. I think Brian Norman give everybody trouble, and I think that's a perfect fight for Brian Norman at the same time, because with T.O.'s experience, his accomplishments, his skill set, I think that'll get him ready for a Boots Ennis. And actually, I'm telling you, I think Brian Norman the dog over everybody. I think Brian Norman the dog over everybody. True story. So,
Including Boots.
uh, like I say, far as the Boots Ennis, good fight with good name recognition, but I don't see him beating no Boots. I don't see him beating no Boots. No.
You don't see Tio beating.
Power ain't, hell no. His power ain't there. And Boots gonna turn it up.
Yep.
And Boots gonna turn it up, man. Boots gonna turn it up. That kid, he gonna turn it up. You know what I'm saying? He gonna turn it up. It's probably for him. I would say, like, for the criticism with Boots, but he steps it up. I mean, Stanionis was right there, but still, he did what he was supposed to do. He didn't struggle with Stanionis. He didn't wait, 12 rounds. He got him out of there when he was, and so,
And he showboats but gets him out.
you said what now?
He showboats but normally gets the job done.
Well, he ain't really knocked nobody out, really, but he got the job done there. Too much showboat too, like Tio. That's why I told you, them two fellas fighting, they probably be like busting loose, breaking, you know what I mean? The show breaking. Like I said, everybody just, they pop locking and shit and doing shit like that. Too much damn showboat for me.
And that's why you believe that they get hit. They get hit the way as much as they do.
You said what now?
Is that the reason
No,
why you think that they
no,
get
no,
hit?
no. Because usually when they showboating, they ain't really in range to get hit from what I've seen. But no, Boots, he just got to work on his deep. He's a Philadelphia fighter, so I ain't gonna. Boots is a Philadelphia fighter, and
Nah.
so
Boots, showboat, and remember the slow motion he did with Villa?
and what happened? Did he get hit?
Nah,
No, I'm
he
saying.
almost knocked him out.
That's what I'm saying. He cold, bro.
He went
Bootsy.
like this, went like slow motion
Yeah,
type shit.
that's not slow mo. That's not showboating. That's slick shit. I'm talking about when they wind their arm up and they touch their feet and they throw a punch and shit like that. That's what I'm talking about. Not necessarily being slick in the ring. No, that's not showboat. You know what I'm trying to say. Like I said, he do the dance. He did the, you know what I mean. He did the bankhead bouncing that motherfucker on.
Yeah, you be wildin'. I love it. I
I'm
love
telling
it.
the truth. He did do that though. He said, bop, 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 bop. Hey, shout out to Boost, man. Shout out to Boost, man. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Because I be talking a lot of shit, but then I start, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, you be start liking them, man. You talk so much shit about them, you start liking them. So you start saying, okay, I'll talk so much shit about them. What's good they do? All right. You know what I'm saying? It's like a song, like that shit dumb as hell. Then you start singing the motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Boost, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Brian Norman. And these guys, I say if T.O. step it up, because I heard T.O. saying some shit like, something about he was talking to Sean Porter too. Like, nigga, Sean Porter a G at this shit. He talking about uh I moved up to 47. What is it? He fight at 40, but he came in the ring at 47, but make it 40 to rehydration. Man, shut your ass up. Just shut the fuck up, trying to make an excuse. Barbosa wasn't trying to fight, and you weren't trying to get him out there. That's just it. You won. Go home, okay? But so 47, like I said, you know, I was giving a thing yesterday on my show too. The other day I was talking about, you know, the unglorified welterweights like came after Sugar Ray Leonard, like Donald Curry, Lloyd Huntington, Milton McCrory, you know, Marlon Starling, you know, them type of guys. You know, those good fighters, real tough guys, real world champions. But like I say, they didn't have the pizzazz or the charisma or even the fighting style to capture the public. You know, and I think these guys is on the same trajectory. But again, you only can fight in your time. So Boots is one of the top. Brian Norman, I would say Boots the top. Brian Norman's second. And you know, these guys can make way in there. These guys can make way. Barrios, he ain't too far gone, world champion. You know, you beat these guys in spectacular fashion and fight, you know, you make your own mark. So I'm looking forward to that. But like I say, I'm when Tio gonna fight Brian Norman, they both at top rank. Move up and have a title, bum. Move up and get a title if you can, but he can't. I think Brian Norman gonna beat his ass. I got Brian Norman hands down.
So, when they asked Bob Arum about the fight with Teofimo Lopez and Arnold Barboza, he said that Arnold Barboza can't crack an egg, and that's why Teo was able to show his full arsenal. What do you think about those comments of Bob Arum?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Tio got wobbled in that fight. He caught him coming in, right? He caught him with a right hand, something, and wobbled him a little bit. But I mean, listen, you the promoter. That's the best thing Bob Arum could have said because he stuck with this guy. You know, this guy is terrible. He got a terrible personality for real. You know, his jokes have no class. You know, and he has no class. So, but when you stuck with a guy with a talent, you gotta, you know, you don't want to bury him because Bob Arum ain't really got, you know, it's starting to sink. And you know how they get, you know, once somebody makes it up there. So you know, it was a saving grace type of statement, I would say, and with partially true. But if he couldn't crack an egg, that's when you go get him. That's when you go get him. That's you got the hand speed. Why you ain't putting on display your hand speed, your combinations, your power, your angles? He ain't doing nothing. He just was happy to get the victory, and he did the Michael Jackson that motherfucking danced all night, which was a boo to the crowd. And if I was the sheep, I'm mad as a motherfucker.
Mm. Talking to Coach Kenny, he was saying that other guys at 140 like Antoine Russell and Matias, guys that really can punch, would give Teofimo Lopez hell. What do you think, guys in his division?
Well, I think Playo is probably
You even
the
got
worst
Boyle
one
too,
right now.
because he could.
Huh?
Boyle too, because he could box.
I think Playo is probably the number one guy right now. Um, but Gary Russell, like I say, Antoine Russell, he looked good. I gotta rewatch a couple of his fights. They said he fought like that every time against like he fought against Valenzuela. But I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. But he looked real good against Valenzuela. And I can't take nothing away from that. The 40-pound division, like I say, T.O. got the biggest name and the biggest star in the division as far as marketability and as far as popularity. But those are some good guys. I think Playo's really good. The Antoine Russell, you know, of course, he got a good pedigree. And